Hey everybody, I was just exploring copper mines over in East Granby while sitting in the chair here in Simsbury, Connecticut. Really cool technology. We're going to go inside, we're going to meet the owner, Tony Healy of Capture Visual Marketing Group, or he likes to be referred as Capture. But the latest, greatest technology, drones, 3D imaging, really cool stuff. Welcome back to another edition of Senator Witkos' Local Business Spotlight Tour. Today I'm in Simsbury at Capture Visual Marketing with the owner, Tony Healy. Tony, thanks for having me in.
Thank
totally
you.
Appreciate it. So you've got a unique business here that you started from behind the camera lens, and today you're in front of the camera lens. So it's a little different role that you're playing.
Very different role for me to be on this side of the camera. I've been on the opposite side of the camera my entire life. Had a camera in my hand since I was a little kid. But truly this company's been around since 2003, so we've been photographing for quite some time. Tens of thousands of properties, and yeah, a lot of time behind the camera.
So what is your market? So is it just properties, or what do you
It
specialize in?
started off in real estate. So we were doing residential real estate photography, and that took off. It all became a little bit more about capturing a space. And as we started working with new technologies like 3D technology or aerial photography with drones and so forth, we started to expand our market outside of residential real estate into commercial real estate, and then boom, into every industry. There really isn't too many industries out there right now that we don't have at least a little footprint in, or that we don't have somebody saying, hey, have you tried this lately?
Right,
you know,
right.
because if you're capturing a space these days, whether it's retail, whether it's renovation, anything along. We do a lot of work for insurance, historic, you name it. Just pick an industry, and we're in there right now.
Well, they say a picture's worth 1,000 words, so I think you really can tell the story.
So if a picture's worth 1,000 words, I'm wondering what a 3D walkthrough is. You know, that's got to be 10,000 words or more. You know, it's got to be pretty interesting because we're really
historic.
Getting
I
pretty
see over there the Sailors, Soldiers, Marines Arch, which is right downtown Hartford. Why don't you grab that for a second?
I'll grab that. I'd be happy to.
And how did you make that?
So this is actually what we did was something called photogrammetry, where we take a series of pictures combined with software, and we create a true 3D visual of it. You know, so in this case, what we did here was we flew with a drone around the Soldiers and Sailors Arch, and we worked with some software, and the software told us, okay, you're going to need about 1,200, 1,300 photos of this, and it works in concert with GPS signals too. So anytime we have a drone in the air, we probably have about 15, 20 GPS signals, really keeping that drone very specified to that exact foot. So with that technology combined, it tells us exactly where the flight path is, and we automate it. We can press go, and then now that drone is just going to fly around. It's going to capture all that detail for us. What happens is it turns it into a 3D model for us. And one of my pilots, Paul, he's got a 3D printer at the home. So one night he just went ahead and took that file that we had, that 3D file, and had some fun and printed that out for us.
I mean, the detail on that is absolutely fascinating, that you got down to such a small...
So the detail was important to me because these 6 soldiers around the outside of the columns here were actually done and sculpted by my great-great-grandfather Albert Entris some years ago. So what's pretty cool is he's done a lot of the sculpture around the Capitol, around the Wadsworth. He's done it throughout Hartford, and I kind of have this kind of saying now that he helped build Hartford and helped build the city and around us, and I'm getting to preserve it or digitally preserve it now.
I tell you, small world and the different things how you become assimilated with those different things that
Absolutely.
you might not have known. Now, above you, is that one of the typical drones that you use?
That's an old-fashioned drone.
Okay.
That's an old-fashioned drone. If we've got one right over there, if you'd like to see, I can show you what a new, kind of the newfangled drone looks like, if you like.
And you have to have a license to fly.
You
a drone,
do,
right?
You do. So every one of our drone pilots has to have a Federal Aviation Administration card with them, and that licensed them to fly pretty much anywhere that's going to be commercial. And commercial is the number one key, because let's step back and think about a real estate agent. The second they monetize a job, they're putting a listing up. and bring in a drone pilot. That now has to be covered by FAA rules. So there's standards. We can only fly to certain heights, we can only fly in certain areas and so forth. Recently we've been doing some work over in East Hartford in a very secure area around Pratt and Whitney. And we're very limited based on what they call geofencing that's built right into the technology, right into the drones that we use. It'll tell us where we're allowed to fly and where we're not allowed to fly. And at the same time, we have to worry about things like Lifestar flying over, or Brainerd Airport having airplanes coming in, or things along those lines. So being FAA regulated is a good thing. It only brings knowledgeable pilots to the job versus some folks that can just throw it up there and maybe might not be insured or FAA qualified.
I was going to say, these are professionals that know what they're doing, know how to operate it, not the folks that, not that there's anything wrong with it, running down to Walmart, picking up a drone and zipping it around in the sky with a GoPro on it.
Every year after Christmas, we get a big surge of new drone pilots that flood the market, and they're like, "We'll do it for $40." Well, okay, you get what you get,
So I was looking at your website, the things that you sent me, and it looks like you actually did, and I don't know if it's drone work or how were you able to maneuver inside of a building, because you don't fly a drone inside, right?
Well, we do.
Oh, you do?
Yep. So two things. Number one is what we do on a daily basis, almost hourly basis. Right now we're doing 3D immersive tours of the insides of buildings. So we use a camera that's called a Matterport camera, and it works in concert with an iPad and some software, and we go around every 3 to 5 feet, basically everywhere that somebody's going to walk online. We go around with a tripod and we move that Matterport camera to capture the image, and it takes 3D kind of spheres. I think of it as like an orange slice. 60 degrees times 6 becomes a 360. Then you stitch it together as you move around through the space. We put it through their proprietary software online through a cloud, turns into a 3D walkthrough. We do that day in and day out. But we got to do the Cathedral of St. Joe's 2 years ago in 3D. And the minute I walked in there and I had the ear of the Archbishop there, I asked him, "Is there any chance that we could fly a drone in here?" And he said yes. He said yes, within a heartbeat. And it was so cool. So Paul, again, the guy I mentioned before, one of our drone pilots, actually flew by wire in there, meaning he had no GPS signal. And there's not much you can break inside a cathedral because it's all cement and steel and all that. But it was still a little nerve-wracking.
I'm sure you'd be forgiven if you did, because it would be by mistake anyways. Yeah, and I saw that another one that you sent, that it's not only above ground but below ground. And when you had a virtual tour, I guess, of Old Newgate Prison, which to me, the first thing I thought of was, imagine somebody that's handicapped that can't get down there and see it.
Bingo.
You feel like you are right there,
Bingo.
taking the tour yourself.
Absolutely, and you just hit it on the nail too, because when we started doing this, we did it for a marketing purpose only. It was really just to showcase these places on the web. And now the 3D has just taken off to have all these different facets and benefits to it, and one of them being ADA compliancy. Think about folks that just, for one reason or another, cannot get down into that space, or maybe even go up a flight of stairs. And we worked with the State Historic Office of Connecticut, the Preservation Office, SHPO, and we worked with them to announce the grand reopening of Old Newgate. After 9 years of being on the side and not being open, for about a year prior, we got to do things like drone flyovers to showcase the space from above. We got to do walkthroughs with the 3D to do the jug cells and the old tavern across the street. But one day I just kind of pitched them, and I asked them, "Is there any chance that we can do the copper mine?" And they said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, really." And they said, "Yes." So I worked pretty diligently with an outside company out of California to create a lighting system that would mount to our Matterport camera. And actually I've created a design of a new lighting system for these cameras. And it worked so well. We got to go down into the dark, spooky, very spooky,
Sure.
Cold, dripping. You hear a lot of noises down there. It's really kind of neat.
So one of the things that you do, and I thought it was very interesting, my background in public safety, is offer a service where folks can do some pre-planning for emergencies. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
So pre-plan, we're working with a company right now as an affiliate. We just became an affiliate of a company out of Michigan called Pre-Plan Live to do exactly that, pre-planning. It's emergency response planning. So if you think about the 3D technology that we have here and the fact that we can, once we've gone into a space, we've captured that space in 3D and people can look at it and gain access to any part of that building. Well, now imagine that a first responder has an app on an iPad or their phone or something along those lines, and they're responding to an incident, whether it's a fire, a shooting, or anything along those lines. As they're en route, they know exactly what the emergency is. They know exactly where in the building it is. This technology ties into live camera feeds. It's got all the contact information, so the contact information is getting out there the second that somebody is actually swiping this app, because on the flip side of being a first responder who has access to this three-dimensionality in building, basically building intelligence is the way I look at it, is that picture a school. All of their admins, teachers and so forth, all have an app on their phone. And if there's an emergency, maybe a kid falls, maybe there's a fire or something along those lines, they can swipe that easy on their iPhone and tell first responders exactly what the emergency is, and because of GPS, tell them exactly where they are in the building. So now that that time to that incident is carved from what might be 15, 20 minutes to 2 or 3 minutes, and they can get on site that much quicker. Great technology, and that same technology is starting to roll out into multiple industries. But think about restoration. So these big companies that do the restoration before and after a flood, a fire, or something along those lines, same technology now. If you think about it, they go in, they've got a new client. It might be something as simple as a Starbucks. They go in, they do a 3D scan. They've got the pre in place.
Right.
Now something happens, a catastrophe, they go back in, and within hours they can have 3D information that can be disseminated across the world, so that insurance companies or anybody that normally would have taken weeks and weeks to measure and find out information can now grab within a few hours.
How long does it take? I'm sure it depends on the complexity of the building and what you're trying to do there, but
Yeah.
to go in and really do on-site work, and then you take the information back to your studio here to put the finishing touches on, put it together.
It's pretty amazing. So roughly we could do about 1,500 to 2,000 square feet in about an hour. So we look at everything by the square feet, but that's with one of our devices. One of our devices is the standard everyday one. And that takes a scan every 3 to 5 feet. So you can imagine if we want a very thorough thing, we've got a lot of time there. But we do have stronger technology that allows us to go every 50, 60 feet and really cuts down the time of the scan. So depending on the size and the scope of the job, we can use the technology that's deemed appropriate for it. But anytime we're looking at a building, we could be looking at anything from a couple hours to sometimes a day. The cathedral took us 2 days.
Sure.
Yeah, it was just, the cathedral's 250 feet long by 85 feet wide by 10 stories high. It's gigantic.
So if somebody, the average person, wanted they're putting their house on the market and they wanted to engage their realtor to do a virtual tour, I guess, from my common knowledge of what it would be called.
No, that's a good term.
How long would it take for your company to come in to put together a package?
Very simple, and we're, a couple of years ago we were only doing it for the big ones down in Greenwich, the big,
Right.
huge multi-million-dollar homes. Now we do them for a 1,500 square foot condo. Really, we can get in and out and not bother the realtor or the homeowner for more than maybe 2 hours.
Wow.
Yep.
That's impressive.
And then when we're done, once we upload it, we can upload those in the evening. They'll be processed and ready for us the next day. It's pretty quick technology.
That's a very fast turnaround.
Yeah, very fast. We don't promise that.
Sure, right. But still, that's cutting edge to be able to go in there and put together the excellent product that you put together and have it back ready for somebody within 48 hours.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's what we do. We typically, like in a residential or commercial space, we'll give them a 2-day turnaround just because we want to do a good job on the edit side, on the back end, be able to make sure everything's clean and delivered properly for them so that they can use it, because they have some regulations they have to deal with on their end, especially realtors having to deal with branding or no branding on multiple listing services and things like that. So we want to make sure that we have enough time to not only process this, but then also take a look at it and really give them that 100% quality.
So if somebody was interested in utilizing your services, is there a website they could go on to look at to get some information?
Absolutely. CapturePics.com, PICS.com.
CapturePics.com.
CapturePics.com will take them to everything. So if they're a realtor, they can click on a simple link that takes them right to everything about real estate. But if they're in any of the other industries, all the information's right there for all the technologies that we use, from photography to drone to 3D to floor plans and across the board.
And if they wanted to schedule something, they say, "Oh, yep, I want to use Capture as my my video creation of the
space."
The space, yeah, I guess that's because it has so many different applications. How long of a lead time do they need to contact you? I know
it really depends.
In the crunch
it
time.
really depends. So we work with a lot of accounts these days across all industries that could be planning things out a month, 2 months in advance. If you look at a residential realtor, though, sometimes they need to be on the market this week.
Right.
So we've got a schedule that's constantly fluxing like this, and a realtor, it's always best that if they've got the ability to say a week out, that's great. That gives them time to plan and be able to make sure that they go on the market with
Clean
their
the
best
house up
foot
a little
forward.
bit, maybe,
right?
make it in
Yeah. So
presentable fashion.
most of the realtors we work with don't ask us for that
Right.
last minute. It happens. But the rest of the industry will plan out. So if we do one of the museums for SHPO, for instance, we'll plan that at least a month or so in advance, because typically we're looking for a day that there's no public access.
Right.
It might be a Tuesday when they're closed or something along those lines, so that we can get in there and out. Because if we're doing 3D, number one, everywhere that we place the scanner, it's going to see a person if the person's standing around there. So we try and strip it of everything along those lines of just the extraneous visuals of people or cars or anything along those lines.
And you don't just stay in Connecticut, you'll travel if somebody
asks
wants to solicit your service to go somewhere.
2 weeks ago, I did a hotel up in Boston. This week, I'm going down to the Caribbean to do some cabanas and some nice beachside areas.
I'm sure you've got a lot of requests for assistance, no charge.
Yeah, I've had everybody from you and a pharmacist, and you name it, any occupation out there asking me if they need assistance out there on the island.
So behind you is another 3D image that you created from the Colt building. Did you do Colt, right?
Yeah. So what's happening right there, the state park there actually invited us in to do some 3D, because what they're looking to do is raise some money to be able to take people up into the dome at the Armory. And in the interim, they want to be able to show people what it's like to be up there. So what we did was we did a 3D walkthrough up between these columns up here. I actually went up the building, went up a little flight of stairs, came out to this little landing that was basically a big circle, and did 3D from the inside. But while I was doing that, my drone pilot, Paul, was flying around the outside. So he was capturing, you could see me in some of our footage,
Right.
You could see me in there doing 3D. But again, just like we did with the soldiers and sailors, we flew around this and captured this with what's called photogrammetry. So we take two-dimensional photos with software combined to create a 3D item.
And what do you do when somebody wants to purchase your services? Do you send them a quote as to what is it that you want done? And depends on, you said, I think, the square footage.
Yeah, so real estate is the only thing I could possibly put up online that's got a price
Right.
out there, because it's all standard. Whereas, when we're working with a company to showcase any kind of space, because originally when we were doing spaces, it was inside. Now we're doing space outside, and we're doing around buildings. We're doing out at cabanas. We're doing on beach sides, things like that. A lot of fun. I want more golf courses. That would be real cool.
But you get the. I think the panoramic view tells a bigger story too, because some people say, well, location, location, location. But if you're only looking in a room, you want to see, well, what's outside that room?
Absolutely.
What does the street look like? What does the neighborhood look like? And you're able to provide that.
And in the past, it wasn't there. The technology was, it was more for surveying, that kind of equipment, and very high end. And so the price to bring down to be able to give to a consumer and turn into one of these 3D tours was not really there. That's only come around in the last couple of years. And as it gains more and more traction, we're actually able to get that technology out in the field and do some things like we just worked with the Florence Griswold Museum down in Lyme, and we did a lot of their insides of the building. Well, now we're being asked if we can consider maybe doing some of the grounds, and that's the outside. How cool is that? You know, now we can tie the outside with the inside. Folks can walk around the outside and see what the land looked like back when it was, you know, in its historic times, and then walk right up to the old building and go in.
You know, I could just have a staycation and just live vicariously through your website.
You know, when we did work, the first time we did work for the Mark Twain House, I sat in front of 20 people, and one person screamed, "This is going to keep people from coming in here." It really is. And I'm kind of glad you said that, because truly, if there's one thing we see, it brings people to the site.
I'm sure you want to go see it in person.
Oh yeah, think about brewery tours, number one, okay? Somebody around the New England wants to go do New England breweries, and they can look up one of the breweries we did and say, oh, that looks so cool, we'll put that on Tuesday, we'll stay at this place. Well, the Mark Twain House, we actually helped them increase their on-site attendance, and we were actually given an award by them, a Sammy Award, for the work that we did on site for them. Because not only was it marketing them on the website, but it also attributed to tickets on site.
Fantastic. Well, that's 21st century technology right here. Make sure you come out, check out the website at capturepics.com.
Yep.
Tony, thank you for having me, and good
Thank
luck
you very
on
much,
your trip. And you know, you put together a great product, and urge everybody to check it out.
Thank you very much.